This is Beaver Lake in Benton County, Arkansas. This is the Lost Bridge South area, and on 4:43 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 30th, a kayaker reported that they'd spotted a body at the bank across from this very area. So I'm guessing it might be over here or over here. But that ended more than a week-long search for 49-year-old Dr. John Forsyth. But his death is mysterious, and the circumstances surrounding him going missing are bizarre. So in this video, we're going to talk about what we know so far about the bizarre disappearance and the mysterious death of Dr. John Forsyth.
Dr. John Forsyth disappeared on May 21st after his shift at Mercy Hospital in Cassville. A kayaker found his body yesterday in Benton County, Arkansas. The sheriff's office says he had an apparent gunshot wound.
Seen him a few times in the ER, and I have family members that work at the clinic.
Jimmy Cotton has spent the last few days at Beaver Lake, but he lives near Cassville. And like many, he's been following the case of the missing Dr. John Forsyth closely.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, he just disappeared out of nowhere, and then now this yesterday.
So I'm going to walk you through what we know so far. We know that Dr. Forsyth left his job at the Mercy ER here in Cassville right behind me. He made his way across the street to his RV, which is located right here. And you see these people standing here. That is with the Benton County Sheriff's Office. They are doing their own investigation as we speak. A witness says that his black Infiniti was seen right behind here after 7:30. And as of Tuesday, Dr. Forsyth's body was found on Beaver Lake at Lost Bridge South. It's a windy 36-minute drive from Cassville to Lost Bridge, where Dr. Forsyth's body was found in the water by a kayaker. Julie Sizemore says her family visits here a lot, but it's usually calm.
Never have ever anything happen like this, ever.
Detectives say things are complicated because this case has crossed state lines.
At law enforcement, we are. We're always working with other agencies. We all have the same goal in mind, and that's solving a crime or a disappearance in this case.
Witnesses say the weekend was busy at the lake, and the body was found in a popular swimming cove, leaving more questions than answers.
Let's back up a minute, shall we? What exactly happened? So, Dr. John Forsyth, so he's a father of 7 or maybe 8. I've seen conflicting reports, so a big family. About to get divorced, and he'd just become engaged to his fiancée. He was very happy in his life. He worked in the ER of the Mercy Hospital in Cassville, which is in Missouri. And if we zoom out from Beaver Lake right here and look at where he worked, this is about 26 miles from where he left his vehicle and where he left work. So this is the Mercy Hospital in Cassville. Cassville is just a very small town with just over 3,000 people in it. And Dr. John Forsyth was well known in the area. No apparent problems in his life. He moonlighted as a cryptocurrency, person, seller, I don't know what you call it. His job was as an ER doctor. Never missed a shift without telling them, if he was sick or something. And it was his workplace that raised the alarm. He didn't turn up for work, which was so uncharacteristic. It set off alarm bells. And they were right to set off their alarm bells, because he just vanished. As we've already spoken about, he was found deceased in the water at Beaver Lake. And police released his cause of death as a gunshot wound. That was from Benton County Sheriff's Office. They're working alongside Barry County Sheriff's Office, Cassville Police Department, and the Missouri State Police. And it's an active investigation. And at this moment in time, we've got a cause of death, a gunshot wound. Now, we don't know where in his body he was shot. Was this a fatal wound? Was this his sole cause of death? Was this a contributory factor to his death? He was found in the water. So was there potential for a drowning? Because there's no manner of death that's been reported. At the time of recording this, it's not immediately clear if the gunshot wound was self-inflicted or not. We haven't actually seen the autopsy report, and we've got nothing further. A Cassville Police Department spokesperson told the Daily Beast that it's too early in the investigation to determine or speculate whether foul play was involved. I find it a little bit difficult for there not to be foul play involved. It reminds me a little bit of the bizarre case of Debbie Collier, which was initially thought to be a homicide, and then they ruled it a suicide. But this is strange. How can you, if you self-inflict a gunshot wound on yourself, what do you then do? Paddle out into the water? Or do you go into the water first and then shoot yourself? It just seems bizarre. And why go 26 miles if you're just going to go and shoot yourself? But did he have any enemies? Were there any other bizarre circumstances? I've heard rumours that he was kidnapped before, but I can't confirm that. But let's back up even more to the point that he was last seen. He was reported missing when he failed to turn up for his shift on May 21st. His RV was found in the parking lot, minutes away from the hospital. It was unlocked, there was 2 phones inside, and his wallet. There's no theft or anything like that involved. John's son, 23-year-old J.R. Forsythe, told the Daily Beast that while he's still awaiting answers about what happened to his father, it's somewhat comforting to have some closure at the very least. He was last heard from on 7 a.m. that day, 21st of May, when he was texting his fiancée. He was texting her things like, "Hey, my shift's over and I'll see you in a little bit." Richard Forsythe, who is John's brother, told the Daily Beast last week. Minutes later, he stopped responding to text messages and is seen walking towards his RV. Now, this parking lot is covered by security, and it shows Forsythe's car pulling into a parking lot and an aquatic park in Cassville. So leaves the hospital, goes to the aquatic park, and then a white SUV pulls up near him a few minutes after that. The white SUV leaves, but it doesn't take John with him because he's seen on surveillance walking around maybe 10 to 15 minutes after that. But then he just walks away, and it's not clear where he went. Now, we know where he ended up. He ended up 26 miles away, which is going to take, several hours to walk, because he didn't take his car. It'd be like 25, 30 minutes drive. Didn't take his car. If he decided to walk there, well, surely he would have been seen, because this was 7 a.m. So if he decided to walk to this lake, well, he'd have been walking in the day. So that doesn't make sense either. So on leaving his car unlocked, his wallet, his phones and his laptop inside, his brother Richard said, "It doesn't seem like a person who left with a plan. Right now, we really don't have any breaks in the case. I'm confused and I'm worried, and I don't like this one bit." He wouldn't miss a shift, even if his eyeballs were hanging out of their sockets. That was an immediate red flag. And that's exactly what his co-workers thought when he didn't turn up, because he was reliable, conscientious. ER doctor. Raising suspicions of foul play, Richard Forsythe said, "John's RV was found unlocked, which is very uncharacteristic. His cell phones were inside, which is also very uncharacteristic because he always had his cell phone. We had dinner Wednesday before he disappeared, and we sat and talked for 3 hours," Richard said. "I told him this is the happiest I'd seen him in a long time. His divorce was final on May the 11th, and I think that gave him energy for the future." Now, as I said, this is still an active investigation. And initially, police said there's no sign of foul play. But then when this news of the cause of death being a gunshot wound, that to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And John's family have rejected the idea that he could have done this to himself. "John would never do that," said Richard. "I won't accept that possibility." Richard told CNN that John didn't exhibit any signs that he would indicate that he was suicidal. He said John had recently purchased plane tickets to visit some of his 8 children in another state. He'd just recently gotten engaged to the love of his life. Also, as just stated, he'd just finalised a divorce. No, he had been ordered to pay thousands of dollars every month in alimony and child support. Did that weigh heavy on him? But weighing that against everything else that he had going for him, would that be a reason why he'd end his own life? Having said that, Richard said that John in the past has made statements that in hindsight could be considered concerning. On several occasions, he's talked about scenarios in case he wasn't around anymore. But he was happy at this point in his life. And loads of people have contingency plans. Loads of people plans. You know, he's got 8 kids. You know, he's going to think about how his kids are going to survive if he's no longer around. That's why people make wills, isn't it? So to me, that on its own does not indicate somebody who is thinking along those lines. Just to me. Obviously, I don't know John. Richard knows John way better than me. And quite often families don't want to consider the possibility that their loved one did take their own life. But what I can't reconcile is having a gunshot wound and then being found in a lake. The two don't seem to match up as a plan. You know, a plan for suicide. But we'll have to wait and see. This is just bizarre. Bizarre. Can't wrap my head around it. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I've been Michelle. Hope you're well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Come on, Doodle. Cassie, this way. Cassie, this way. Come on, Doodle. Come on, Doodle.